Дякуємо за авто підписникам Mercado Media. В цей час воно нам дуже необхідно.
Дякуємо глядачам каналу Mercado Media за збір на цю автівку. Слава ЗСУ!
Слава Україні! Я головний сержант 2-ї саперної інженерної роти 33-го окремого інженерного батальйону. Хочу висловити подяку Mercado та його підписникам за таку чудову машину. Ця машина нас приведе ближче до перемоги. Победа за нами, слава Україні!
Hi guys, today I want to appreciate the Mercado Media, all the friends and subscribers and the NAFO community for this wonderful pickup truck. Слава Україні!
Героям слава! Всім привіт! Я Вадим, позивний режисер, 42-га окрема механізована бригада. Ми зараз ведемо бої на Харківщині. Дякую Меркадо Медіа і всім підписникам його каналу за придбаний автомобіль. Він дозволить нам ефективно і успішно виконувати бойові завдання на Харківщині. Я сподіваюся, що цей автомобіль дозволить швидше здобути нашу перемогу. Слава Україні!
I want to give a big thank you to Mercado Media and Johnny FD, two close friends who have helped me create this fundraiser between ourselves to help raise funds for what is needed essentially on the front line. And I also want to give a big thank you to both Mercado Media and Johnny FD's followers for helping us achieve this goal of funding the first car for our fundraiser. The car is going to be put to good use on the front lines in aiding us with helping to carry out our mission and also helping us to clear Ukraine of the invader. Slava Ukraini.
Thank you, Mercado Media, Johnny FD, Kostak Gundi, and all your subscribers for the generous donation of this van. It will help us with our logistics in the International Legion.
Dear friends of NAFO, my name is Pete, hasta la vista, from Project Constantine. This beautiful beast was donated to the brigade that we're friendly with in the forest here, 67 Brigade. 69th Infantry Brigade donating to 67. It's pretty cool. I keep bumping into this vehicle in the forest. We never have time. We never have time to actually make any videos or get inside your vehicle and do any missions with it because we're like passing ships in the night here. But Mercado Media, Andrew, you NAFO supporters, it's beautiful to see this grand vehicle that you've got for this brigade because it's a reliable vehicle and I've never seen it anywhere other than in the forest. I've never seen it in the garage. And yes to that, and all Ukrainians must live. Bakhmut is Ukraine. This forest is Ukraine. And Mercado Media and NAFO, you guys are here supporting us, man, and we freaking love you to pieces. Thank you for what you're doing for the soldiers of Ukraine. God bless you. To victory. Do перемоги.
How you doing, everybody? How we doing? Sorry, I'm not choosing to wear sunglasses to look like a douchebag, but I had eye doctor appointment today, and I can't see in the bright, and these lights are bright, and it just is what it is. So you guys are gonna have to deal with me in sunglasses for this stream. All right? I haven't had an eye appointment in like 4 years. The last one was in 2021. It's been a while, so I've been had an eye appointment in like 4 years. They dilated my eyes. They gave me everything, right? So I get new glasses. I'm getting new contacts. That way I can stream late and not have to have my contacts in for 12 hours. Like if I want to do a 24-hour stream, I'm going to be fine now because really it's like my contacts that get dry and then it makes my eyes heavy and then that makes me tired. But if I can stream with glasses on, because I'll be in glasses soon, we can stream forever and I'll never tire out and it'll be the greatest. Welcome everybody. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. It's I can't read. July 14th. I can read from this distance, but if it's anything smaller, I can't like read it. I got to get a little closer. We'll deal with it though. How you doing everybody? It is July 14th. I got my birthday on Saturday. I'm turning 32. So anyone else that has a July birthday, happy freaking birthday. Happy birthday to you. Shout out to all my fellow cancers. Dunk on You says working but listening. Slava Ukraine. Hello, Dunk on You. Thank you so much for all of the support. If you're wondering what's going on YouTube, it's the same thing that happened to my gaming channel, and now YouTube has the top fans thing in the chat. So if you have a little crown next to your name, it's based on how much you're chatting and interacting with what's going on. So if you want that, you can chat away and you'll get your little crown. My gaming channel got it a couple weeks ago, so I figured it was coming. And then we got 5 gifteds already coming in hot from Dunk on You. 5 gifteds already coming in hot from Dunk on You. Okay, a couple things before we get started with the update today and other things. We got Russian losses. Let's go over that really quick. Let me fix that real fast. Thank you for becoming members. Russian losses as of July 14th. We have 1,130 troops, 1,130. And you got 4 AFVs. We got 102 vehicles and fuel tanks. We got 3 tanks. We got 51 artillery systems, 124 UAVs, and we got 3 special equipment going on for the past 24 hours within Ukraine. The neo-Nazi Ukraine folks call Russians orcs. Putin says he is denazifying any questions. And on the 1,000-year-old church split, hatred is winning. Lots of Nazis and Russians are dying daily. There's a lot to unpack there with that comment there, but there's sure is a lot of Nazi Russians dying. I did see that. I was given, like, you know, when I got to go train with the Ukrainian soldiers a little bit, you know, I got to, they handed me patches of Russian that they took out, and if they're not patches, I can like float around and be like, oh, look at the cool, it's because they're, you know, they're Russian patches, but they're Nazi patches. Okay. And Ukrainian sharpshooter, you know, took them out, obviously. And then they collect their patches and everything for keepsake. So, but yeah, all the patches I got were like far right Russian patches from the Ukrainian military that took them out because they're invading their country, and the efforts that Russia is carrying out, like they care about, you know, ethnic Russian speakers, that all this other bullshit. They're projecting their Nazism onto Ukraine. It's really just like a projection, with both their actions, because they focus on this ethnic Russian shit with the language, with cultural nonsense, with the church, all this other shit, which is inherently Nazi, okay, inherently fascist and Nazi. Even within that, because it's like Russia creates this propaganda bullshit, but even then, it's like their reasonings are Nazi. Okay, so it's wild to even have that. And what else? What other bullshit did you say in my chat here? Putin says he is denazifying any questions. I don't trust Putin. To trust Putin would be like to trust you're like somebody that lies to you every single day. Like I would probably rather trust somebody I've never met before. Or I would trust a sewage water and try that and see how it goes and see if there's any nutrients within that before trusting Putin. 1,000-year-old church split. What is that? So you're okay. So we actually have a Russian troll then in the chat with the 1,000-year church split, which is wild. Very, very wild. And you know, when they add that onto it, it's for sure just from the FSB. Thank you, Jan, for the 5 gifteds. And then also thank you for the support there. Or Jan, you just became a member with the number 5 next to your name. I'm a little blind today. Okay. Orthodox, schematics, yeah, schisms. Listen, just because the KGB and the FSB took over the Russian Orthodoxy and the church, that doesn't make it Ukraine's problem for having Orthodox Christianity still that is free from Russian bullshit. Okay. And I'm not even Christian really anymore personally. I thought it was cool seeing like the old timey churches and stuff. But ain't nobody's fault but their own for Russia and introducing extremist nonsense and how the Russians were chosen, the chosen people, and like all of this crap. Okay, and then also their religion gets injected with conspiracy theories too on everything. Very similar to like in America with MAGA, to be honest. That's why I think MAGA oftentimes aligns with Russians and what Russia has going on, because there's a lot of the same energy there with like the religion and like oftentimes that are the people that are the most schizo. Okay, that's why they will like, oh, Russia based. It's because it's the same propaganda strategies and the same nonsense within that. And even then, like, I'm not even religious. Okay, I think it's all propaganda. But like, I people can believe what they want, but to act like the Russian Orthodox Church isn't like a terrorist entity. It's you know, the pure Orthodoxy one is would be the Ukrainian one, because you can go there and practice your faith and be Orthodox and all that. But Russians, you got to like go baptize a tank and say that Putin is the chosen one from God, and go and watch the FSB priests like put the fucking whatever. It's the weirdest. Okay, it's the weirdest thing you'll ever see. And that's what they got going on within Russia. So I don't want to hear that. But we have some interesting news today, and I say interesting. I'm not going to say it's big. I'm not even going to hype it because there's no reason to. Okay, a lot of people are hyping today's news with Trump for multiple reasons. Okay, number one, This dude is, yeah, we have softball tonight. Yeah, we have softball. I have softball later. I'll get to that. Let me talk first. I promise you, I'll give all updates and everything. This dude Trump is doing terrible. Okay, this dude Trump is doing absolutely dog shit all around, and he's just coming out of the Epstein nonsense that is not gonna go away. It's not gonna go away from him because he campaigned on it, and then he has a bunch of schizos that followed him for that, and that he's like gonna be like the pedophile exposer. So number one, Diddy went free basically. So Diddy's trial didn't go the way that a lot wanted to, and then Epstein is a Democrat hoax now. It's the Democrats made it up. Anyways, okay, so all of it's going bad. Plus his tariffs are bad, like his policies are bad, Israel support bad, like it's not going well. Okay, his administration is not going well. And I predicted this. I said I predicted this a few days ago. I said he needs something. He needs to do something to get out of the hole he's in, and it still will put him in a hole, which I'm fine with, because he has his isolationist pro-Russian MAGA base still. They haven't gone anywhere. You know, they haven't gone anywhere, but now they're just seeing like they're just getting screwed over by Epstein, the Epstein lies, and you know, they probably lost their jobs. Their benefits have been taken away. You know, something's happened to them now. So now they're no longer like full-throated cultists, but they still probably won't support Ukraine. So just, you know, be ready for that. But at least there's like a lot of people that do. And a lot of people do support Ukraine. So like it'll be something that Trump can do that people won't be mad at. But people will. But the majority will be not mad. And the majority will be like, oh, wow, he's doing something. But at the same time, we're getting him the fuck out of there as fast as possible. And I'm also going to try to help any serious politician. I don't know what their party is. Looks like the Democrats, but we'll see when we get closer to midterms. Anyone that has a serious chance of winning, and I like their policies, I mean, it's probably GG's for MAGA. Okay, probably. Things can go bad. Things can go sideways, and not the way we want, or the way I would want. Try to stop this nonsense. Okay, don't forget this is the same Trump that said he'd end the war in 24 hours. Okay, it's been 6 months. It's been half of a year. He said 24 hours, you guys. Okay, same guy. And now we're in. All right, I'll just give you the full rundown of it all, of everything that he's saying now, and also it's kind of like still helping Putin, because Putin has like 60 days for his offensive he's conducting, and so Trump like already gave him 11 days ish of that, and so now we're like in the final. That's why it's 50. You're like, why the fuck is it 50 days? Why isn't it 2 weeks? It's 50 days because Putin is 60 days for their offensive. So he's still giving Putin his full time for his offensive. And then guess what? In 50 days from now, like I'm just talking from experience from the last 6 months, there will be 18 different news stories. Okay. I don't know what they're going to be, but there will be countless breaking news. And I don't know what the politics will be in 50 days. You know, what's the like? I don't know why you'd even be excited about this. Okay, it's good that weapons are flowing again, but this is the same president that will take it away, or Pete Hegseth will, or not Colby. I hate Colby too. Who's the stupid one? Colby's the Canadian one. Eldridge. Whatever his name is in the government. What's that dude's name? Eldridge Colby? There's Colby, Birdwar, and then Eldridge Colby. Like these fucking Colbys, dude, they're taking over. If you ever see someone named Colby, you better be sus. You better be worried about what's going on. But that dude's in the government with Pete Hegseth, and like they can make moves apparently, but they're not making any moves without Trump. So I don't care. Trump can say that Pete Hegseth stopped that himself, but like nothing's happening in this administration without Trump's approval. Okay, without Trump saying so, nothing is happening. It's just that type of government now. Okay, in the first term, he did have people working and doing their thing, and then going against him or going against the grain. But now we're in Trump 2.0, and you should know this because even when MAGA came for Pam Bondi over the weekend, then in the past few days, they've been trying to get Pam Bondi fired, and Trump absolutely had her back. And said, nope, She's not going nowhere. Do you know why? Because Pam Bondi is a puppet. Pam Bondi will do what Trump says. And Trump doesn't want to have someone else come in there that might not be a yes man. And like they'll still be a MAGA and like support him and be so excited to serve in that role, but might not be Pam Bondi. You got the control there. He can control Pam Bondi. He might not be able to control someone else. So they were the maggots literally crying for Pam Bondi to get fired as if it's Pam Bondi. Like, yeah, she lied, but they all did. Trump did too. Like, why didn't you call him for your boy's job? Oh, then you'd be going against the cult. It's the same thing as Russia, right? It's like they have like people that take the fall below him, but it's never him. You know, isn't that wild? Trump campaigned on the Epstein files, okay, and he appointed Pam Bondi. I'm gonna blame Pam Bondi as if it's all her fault. Yeah, let's take her job, anyways. So he has yes men around him. So Pete Hegseth and Eldridge Colby are not going to make moves without Trump approving and saying, yep, that's what I want, or that's what I don't want at this point. But here it is. President Trump on Monday laid out a pair of steps intended to pressure Russia to end its war in Ukraine, including funneling new weapons to Kyiv and threatening economic punishment on Moscow if peace isn't reached in 50 days. As he grows increasingly disenchanted with his Russian counterpart. Disenchanted. I don't think he is. He's just playing a game. He's playing the game, guys. And he plays it so well, apparently. Not for me, but for people out here. For people. And it works. And then you got like fucking Gertis. I listened to that show this morning. And while Greg and Johnny Pierce, I can't listen to Gertis, dude. I can't. Oh, this is good, guys. Guys, this is good, right? This is Trump. Trump did good. And then Johnny and Greg will go, oh man, well actually, you know, it's it's actually, you know, kind of mid, but and then Gertis will go, but it's good. And I'm just like, this is terrible. I just want to listen to Johnny and Greg because like they know what they're talking about a little more than Gertis. But hey, Gertis is doing good though. His channel's doing good, so you know you gotta have MAGA influencers for Ukraine, guys. That's what I've realized. Unfortunately, gotta have Trump supporters that will have an avenue for MAGA to have a safe space to support Ukraine. Okay, that's what it is, and it is what it is. I'm not a safe space for MAGA. Okay, and MAGA needs one. They need a place to go and feel and have their pillow fluffed and be tucked into bed nicely at night and not be told Trump is bad while he's doing bad. And there needs to be people that do that for people so that way they can continue to support Ukraine. And that's the politics of it. And it sucks, but it is what it is. And I realize that, okay? It's just not going to be my platform, okay? Like, you're welcome here, but I'm absolutely not going to like make up I'm not going to try to dress up Trump so that way you can understand it comfortably. Oh, Trump, you know, like in his heart, like he's just like a business guy, and you know, there's just things that he just has so much on his plate, and there's Israel and this. Bro, I couldn't. I was like, no way we're talking about Israel, dude. We just can't, you know, the weapons just might not be there because, you know, Israel needs them, and yeah, man, I don't know who else. I was like, bro, what? Like we approved weapons for Ukraine, like they're for Ukraine, and Hegseth and Colby stopped it in Poland. They're not intended for anyone else. The weapons are for Ukraine, and Ukraine only. Like when we approve money, the money needs to go to where it's supposed to go. You can't just be like, oh, blanket money. Oh, here's just a check. That's the MAGA propaganda, right? MAGA propaganda lied for 4 years and said Ukraine had a blank check or whatever. This has a blank check or that. Ain't no blank checks. Ain't no blank fucking checks. The only one that got a blank check was like Trump for his campaign from Elon. That was the blank check, not Ukraine. Ukraine gets like crumbs. We give ourselves like 90% of every aid package we've given. Well, under Biden. That was under Biden. We were giving ourselves 90% of it. And now under Trump, not a single thing is moving without absolute goat-seeing Ukraine for it. And I'm not even kidding. Like, it is absolutely Ukraine bending their cheeks over and Donald Trump fisting it. That is what's happening in every single aid package. Whereas you could honestly say the same for the Biden ones, because 90% is a lot of money coming right back into our country. We're like approving aid for Ukraine, but we're paying ourselves like most of it. So you could kind of say the same thing there, but like it's truly like a full goatsy right now with Ukraine and how Trump is handling it. And to act like this is a big thing, like good weapons are flowing. Why did they stop? Why did they stop flowing? Why is the aid worse than Biden? And it was already bad. Everything Trump is doing is worse than Biden. Okay, Ukraine included, obviously. We're talking about Ukraine. But every single measurable thing that Trump is doing, except for fascism, obviously, because Biden wasn't really doing fascism, but Trump is doing that. Like, we have a concentration camp in Florida. Alligators are all around it and shit. I mean, you try to escape, you're gonna get eaten by alligator, and that's like cool and base to MAGA now. So they like that. That stuff is cool. But everything else is like the economy, our position in the world, our jobs, everything is down. Everything is worse than Biden. Nothing like, and Biden was not like, he was pretty mid. He got us into a good position to like have a good acceleration if Trump would have taken that, but he didn't, and started tariffing everybody, and now we're just in a worse position all around. But I mean, it could have been worse. Biden could have been worse. He could have actually made it worse, but he didn't. He completely turned it around 180. But Trump decided to take Biden and then make it worse and then blame Biden for all the bad actions Trump is taking. It's like a magic trick. And it works for people, and they love that. And they like being told that. They like being told that it's Biden's fault for everything, because it makes it more comfortable. So with the details on this, taken together, the moves amount to a markedly new approach to the conflict, which Trump has worked to distance himself from taking office in January. Even as he delivered the announcement from the Oval Office, the president argued he wasn't to blame for the prolonged war. Still, he appeared entirely fed up with the Russian President Vladimir Putin, and he acknowledged American weaponry, however it is delivered, would be necessary if Kyiv is to stave off a full-bore invasion. I felt we had a deal about 4 times when Trump said, referring to a prospective peace agreement. Okay, let's just watch it, okay?
Okay, thank you very much. It's a great honor to have a friend of mine who's become very friendly over the last number of years. We knew each other before, but Mark is the head of NATO, Mark Rutte, Secretary-General.
Mark Rutte.
NATO. Highly respected by everybody that knows him, but in particular the European countries. They have great reliance on him. And he's done a fantastic job. And we had a tremendous meeting, I guess it's about a month ago. And I think Mark will tell you that it was really perhaps more important, the date of November 5th. That was the election day. Maybe that was the most important, because we've made tremendous progress together. And one of the reasons that you're here today is to hear that we are very...
Remember when I won? Remember when I won the election? Yeah, that was cool.
Very unhappy I am with Russia, but we'll discuss that maybe a different day. But we're very, very unhappy with them, and we're going to be doing very severe tariffs if we don't have a deal in 50 days.
Which, by the way, why would you even be excited about that? What type of trade are we even doing with Russia? I swear, bro, this type of news excites the lowest IQ there is. Like, it is, I can't believe it. That's why I've taken such a step back, because I can't. The wave of motion of the people that support Ukraine are like absolutely Republican, and like they're cucked to this guy, and then they have to like, oh God, here comes some good news. It's the fucking worst news ever. Oh God, we're gonna tariff Russia in 50 days with all the trade we do with Russia, which will just hurt the 5 people that do trade with Russia in their small business here at home. It'll just hurt them, because the tariffs don't do anything to hurt Russia, actually. What kind of shit is that? Guys, we tariffed Russia. We did something. See, Trump will help Ukraine. Wow. See, I knew it. I knew Trump would help.
Tariffs at about...
The only thing that will help is if that rumor, which I haven't seen any number about 17 Patriots. They're from NATO allies. So the Patriot batteries, there's up to 17 systems from allies. And like NATO, I'm sorry, it is what it is, but Europe is not fast in giving systems in. You think it would be, since Poland is right there. But Poland is like done. Poland has stopped aid from getting into Ukraine. The EU like doesn't know how to do anything, I guess, without the US like there. And it's just the worst. So it sounds good. All of this sounds good. Wow, 17 systems. That's more than Biden. It's more than Biden did in a package. That's like double, triple, to be honest. But none of this is exciting to me until it's like there and like things are happening. But because even when Biden would announce big aid packages, it'd be all so excited, and then maybe a quarter of the shit even gets there, and then the other 3/4 of it's stuck in Europe, or Poland. Some dumb fuck farmers in Poland are stopping aid from going there, or the Republicans in America are stopping it when Biden was president. It's just always something, dude. So it's like you get hyped as much as you can handle, I guess. How about that? As much as your mental capacity can handle to get excited about we're helping Ukraine, because this is a clown show, okay? So like all in all, just to summarize, like the big ones, like the big things that he's promised before we watch this, 17 Patriot systems, which again are good. That is absolutely needed. 17 would be amazing, incredible work. I'm estimated 300 million from U.S. stockpile. Medium range rockets are under review. But again, all of this is going through Europe, though. Like, we're selling this to Europe. So we're making money. Trump is just like making money, because none of this is like, we're giving it to Ukraine because they need to stop Russia. It's like, this is a business deal with Europe to make you even more cucked to us, to be honest. Like, that's the truth. Europe is very cucked to the United States. I'm seeing a lot of startups, though. Tech startups and independent startups try to break free from this, but this is only going to make that worse. Okay, I was shocking to me, these big great, like I was so dumb, I guess, to geopolitics. I had such a little child's brain on geopolitics, and here I thought, like, man, the UK and like there's, or France, or like they can protect their own countries and they have nuclear power for sure, but like when it comes to moving weapons and like helping other European countries, they can't do anything without America, without the United States. They can do some, little bit, not really though. And that shocked me when I was like, whoa, like actually can't do much of anything without the United States. So that's why when Zelensky was talking, like, without the US, we are screwed, because no matter how much Europe says they want to help and all the coalitions of the willings and all this nonsense, they won't go without America's approval, because of our control of the satellites and our control of the weapons that are connected to the satellites. And that sucks. That really does suck for Europe, because when you have an administration like this with Trump, then it's like really bad. Then you really can't make moves unless Trump says so. And now that he's doing business deals instead of just giving weapons that we have, which we've already paid for, and we've already gotten back for that with Ukraine. I mean, we've already made them do a mineral deal. We're already getting their resources for all the AI infrastructure that we want to build. So we already are getting all that without even anything. No security. Is this the security guarantees? Who knows? Maybe. We haven't given any. We haven't done anything to hold Russia accountable. We haven't stopped any. We haven't done anything better than Biden was doing to stop Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Zero. Not even a little bit. Dylan had a good tweet about it. And I don't know, rain on if you have like having a good day, because like, oh God, finally something positive for Ukraine. I don't want to ruin that for you, but like, he's been president for 6 months now. Okay, guys, it's been 6 months. We're not in the first few weeks of his presidency anymore, or whatever, where you're like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen. Is he going to help Ukraine? Is he not? We've already had umpteenth viral moments of him literally shitting on Ukraine to Zelensky's face. Like, what else? Like, and people will still be like, oh God, I'm going to pray for it. I'm going to pray for it. The best chance you have sounds like Melania fucking Trump. So pray for Melania. Because that sounds like she's the one that's gonna be the one that'll help you, be the one to help Ukraine. Because Trump said Melania, he like would tell Melania, I had good conversation, and Melania say, hey, Putin is still bombing Ukraine. What's that about? So wild though. Here it is.
I go home, I tell the First Lady, I spoke to Vladimir today. We had a wonderful conversation. She said, oh, really? Another city was just hit. So it's like, yeah, look.
The wife and all. Damn, dude. I wasn't familiar with your game, Melanie. See the wife. The wife ain't too happy, Vlad. Can't have it. Some old conservative boomer shit. The wife. Not happy. Not happy, Vlad. Gotta stop. Well, that's wild, though. That, it's Melania Trump that's getting to him. And, like, she hates him. So that's probably why. It's because, like, she hates him. And he probably hears that. Like, no one's a bigger hater of him than Melania privately, probably, most likely. Like, just hates him in private, but has to put on the show and everything in public. So if she's saying that, and he's publicly saying that she's saying that, that's something. But that's where we're at. That's where we're at with support to Ukraine, guys. We're going off of Melania Trump reaching Donald Trump in private.
100%. You'd call them secondary tariffs. You know what that means. But today we're going to talk about something else. And as you know, we've spent $350 billion approximately on this war with Russia and Ukraine. And would like to see it end. It wasn't my war. It was Biden's war.
It's not my war. This is Biden's war. Biden did it. Biden.
Not my war. I'm trying to get you out of it.
Yeah.
And we want to see it end. And I'm disappointed in President Putin because I thought we would have had a deal 2 months ago, but it doesn't seem to get there. So based on that, we're going to be doing secondary tariffs.
So Gertis isn't MAGA. He's MAGA adjacent. What's the difference? That's the same to me.
If we don't have a deal in 50 days, it's very simple. And they'll be at 100%.
Not just MAGA, just MAGA apologists. Like, what?
That's the way it is. It can be more simple. It's just the way it is. I hope we don't have to do it. But regardless, we are going to be, we make the greatest military equipment in the world, whether it's missiles. You saw that recently in Iran, the way those planes flew in. They had every single, 14 bombs hit every target. Then you had the helicopters shoot a total of 30 bombs, 30 missiles, and they hit every single marker, is that right? Every single piece, every single target. And it was, I guess, on a scale of 0 to 10, they say it was about a 15. That's how successful it was. That's how.
Oh boy.
A word they like to use nowadays, but it was an amazing, well-organized attack that people in this country wanted to do for 24 years. When we had the pilots in last week, they were saying, "Sir, we've been practicing."
I want to know when do the helicopters get involved? He was talking about the bombing of Iran, right? I was thinking, like, is he talking about some new operation I missed over the weekend? He's talking about when we bombed and we attacked Iran. That it was a response.
This for 24 years, meaning people, not them, but other people that are a little older now, but they too. And you were the one that let us do it. But we've been practicing it 3 to 4 times a year for 22, 24 years, because they always knew they had to stop Iran from doing what they were doing, which is trying to come up with a nuclear weapon, a nuclear bomb. And we did it very successfully. And we make the best equipment, the best missiles, the best of everything. The European nations know that. And we made a deal today, and I'm going to have Mark speak about it, but we've made a deal today where we are going to be sending them weapons and they're going to be paying for them. The United States will not be having any payment made. We are not buying it, but we will manufacture it and they're going to be paying for it. Our last meeting of a month ago was very successful in that they agreed to 5%, which is more than $1 trillion a year, so they have a lot of money. And these are wealthy nations. They have a lot of money, and they want to do it. They feel very strongly about it.
And Europe's playing it smart. Trump, Mark Rutte has got all the countries to agree to 5. That before Trump even got there, so they almost like took the wind out of Trump, because that is like, I think they're playing it smart. because he doesn't get to saber rattle and yell at them and say, "Hey, you better pay more." And like, we're paying more now. Here you go. Like they really gave him nothing to bitch about at the conference or really anything. So they're playing his game. Europe is playing his game. Ukraine is playing his game. They've been playing his game from the beginning, trying to desperately. Even during the campaign, I was getting annoyed. I was like, Trump blarps peace through strength. He doesn't actually do it. He never has. You could argue maybe the Soleimani one was like the one time he did a peace through strength, I guess, which that still did nothing for us, and it was all for Israel. Whatever, and it's peace in the region for Israel, I guess. Good, whatever. Does nothing for us, though. Like his own, I guess, his whatever personal issues he's got with Iran. Nothing for the American people, though. That does actually nothing for us. But his peace through strength is just LARPing. Like, it's nothing, never is serious. But Ukraine tried to play that. They did. They tried. Like, hey, helping us would be peace through strength, which it would be if he actually did it. Because stopping Russia from invading Ukraine, you got to do that with weapons. You can't do that with vibes. You can't, like, pray about it. You can't pray Russia away. Okay? You gotta give Ukraine weapons to fight, because that's what it takes. And that is the strength part. Okay? So the strength would be that. And then after Ukraine is able to kick Russia out, which would still be a lot, still got a lot of efforts. It's not like a quick thing. It's not like American weapons are like a magic trick for Ukraine to win, but it'll help. You know, it'll allow Ukraine to make moves and be a little bolder, which, like, for example, the 2022 counteroffensive, that was all bold. That was all bold. Surprised everyone. Okay? And Ukraine liberating majority of their country that was under occupation. And that was able to happen with the will of Ukraine. And then after they showed that, then we started flowing in some HIMARS a little bit, not a whole lot, but enough to scare Russia away. And then they fell back out of the northeast and into Kharkiv, and like that was all help. It wasn't purely American weapons, but it inspires and it motivates, because you're getting assistance from America and you're getting new weapons and helping that, and that helps with what's happening on the front lines. It's not a fix all, because Ukraine still has, you know, they got internal stuff they have to fix too. Command issues, manpower issues, that's all going to come from Ukraine. Okay, Ukraine's going to solve that. But they can't, what confidence would they have in, you know, conscripting more soldiers, or even amending that, when they're not going to have support to do that? You know what I mean? So it's like, you need both. You need the support of the United States, and it's like the willpower of Ukraine, obviously, but the willpower is there. So Ukraine has the willpower, and obviously if they don't fight, they're going to lose their country. And if the United States isn't supporting, you know, they can have all the willpower, want to fight all they want, but like they're not getting the support to do it, if that makes sense. Whereas they were getting it, but not enough beforehand. But that's why we were, you know, advocating for more and more and more and more, because that's what it takes. There's no diplomacy with Russia. Okay. There's no coming to a table, because Russia chooses that. That's why. Well, why not, Andrew? Why not? Because Russia doesn't. Like, what, you gonna make someone do something that they don't want to do? I don't. Just rather just deal with them how they should be dealt with, which is weapons, because that's what Russia's asking for. Actually, they're not asking for peace; they're asking to fight. That's what clearly that's what Putin wants. Putin wants to go try to take Ukraine. Not just Ukraine, though. They're not just gonna stop there. That's why so many people are adamant about stopping Putin here, because there wasn't really a wave of massive support like there has been for Ukraine. Doesn't feel like it, but there is. Like there was for Georgia, when Russia was able to occupy Georgia and conduct military operations and still occupy Georgia to this day. Okay, there was nothing really. There was something. There was in the news, but there was no movement like there was now for Ukraine. So the buck's kind of stopping here, because they already had a successful operation, not completely in Georgia, but enough to occupy and still destabilize the government right now. And Georgia's actively protesting it. And that's what, 10, now almost 20 years later after the occupation, 17 years later. Okay, and they're still fighting the Russian influence and occupation. Okay, Ukraine's not going for that, and neither are the rest of the free world, it seems, because we don't want Russia to occupy Ukraine, nor do we want Russia to create a Soviet Union again. Okay, don't want that. Don't want that. You're all, everyone, people that are afraid of Iran because they harm Israel or whatever. They threaten Israel. and Israel's way of life. Okay, Russia threatens everyone's way of life. Okay, I get it. I understand. I do understand the feelings of Israelis that are worried about Iran and the axis of that and the proxy terror groups. Okay, Russia is like echelons a little higher for me on the scale of I need to alert everyone about it. You know what I mean? Like Russia directly threatens the United States, directly threatens all European countries with their consistent invasions, but also destabilization efforts politically, socially, in the media. They are absolutely doing that every single day. Russia pours millions and millions of dollars into propaganda to lie, to try to spin and divide people within all of our countries, all of our Western countries, not just one, mostly the United States, but other countries too, Canada, UK, France, Germany, Poland. I'm seeing that more too. And more of the countries that are bordered with Eastern European countries that were like the former Soviet countries. Russia's really trying there. And it's just a greater axis of evil to me. Okay. So that's why I see it as such a big threat to like, not just Ukraine, because obviously they're invading Ukraine, but it's a larger issue if it's not handled now. And it's already kind of getting scary because we're already 3 years in now, and less and less and less people are paying attention. But it's an issue that isn't going to go anywhere, and Russia's banking on people forgetting. Russia's banking on people not caring anymore because they're just going to continue their invasions and continue invading other European countries. Well, they'll start with their former Soviet countries first. They'll start with like Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. It'll take longer in Poland. They'll have to start. Okay, they'll have to start there and then work their way in. And unfortunately, through lies and manipulation and propaganda, that will be the way that they're successful if they are. I hope they're not. But it won't be through their military force into these countries. It'll be through lies and manipulation and propaganda and like the Russian speakers of Eastern Estonia, and then we have to go in and protect them or something, and then it would be military moves. But they're gonna just copy paste the same thing with Ukraine if Russia isn't stopped now, or isn't stopped in the immediate future here, and not let this continue. That's why I was so adamant about supporting Ukraine immediately, because I don't want this to go on for decades. I don't want Ukraine to have to fight in American support or whatever. Who would want that? Ukraine doesn't even want it. Ukraine doesn't want to have to fight this war forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. They want to have their peace and their independence away from the Russian influence. And like I've said, the only way that can happen is through defensive weapons and offensive weapons, because Ukraine has to attack their military positions, their logistics hubs, all where Russia's coming from. Like, you need offensive weapons for that. It is what it is. You need a HIMARS rocket, or you need artillery. You got to take that target out, or that Russian base is going to grow, and then they're going to attack your city from that base. So not just defensive weapons aren't enough. They're absolutely needed, but you need the offensive weapons too, because Russia is bringing the war into Ukraine like they have been for 3 years. Well, actually 11 years. 11 years total, but 3 in the full scale. And it will only take continuous support of weaponry to stop Russia from this. And it's just there for you, right? It's pretty black and white for me. It's been 3 years of understanding what's going on and a little bit more, and I still have a lot to learn, and a lot of geopolitics that's pretty confusing. But there's a lot that happens, especially in the U.S. There's a lot of news, especially a lot of local news that impacts, like in Texas right now. Texas is not looking at Ukraine. There's people in Texas that support Ukraine, and they can do that, but like they have their floods or the wildfires that can happen, or ice raids right now in the U.S. It's a lot that happens that can create layers of like separation. But that doesn't mean the threat isn't still there. Okay, you got the threat in the U.S. and you got the threat from Russia. Okay, and some people can understand both at the same time. It's cool to do both. It's cool to understand that the threat of the U.S. and what we have internally, and also the external threat that Russia presents to the rest of the world.
And then we feel strongly about it. We're in for a lot of money, and we don't want to do anymore, and we can't. NATO may choose to have certain of them sent to other countries where we can get a little additional speed, where the country will release something and it'll be mostly in the form of a replacement. And I'd like to have Mark, and again, just a highly respected, pretty young guy for having had the
He's
career.
a young guy.
He had an amazing career before going to NATO. So, and we spent a lot of time together over the last couple of months. And if you could say a few words.
Absolutely. No, Mr. President, dear Donald, this is really big. This is really big. You called me on Thursday that you had taken a decision. And the decision is that you want Ukraine, what it needs to have to maintain, to be able to defend itself against Russia, but you don't want the Europeans to pay for it, which is totally logical. And this is building on the tremendous success of the NATO summit. The 5%, but also the decision to keep Ukraine strong and the decision to increase our defense industrial production. So
hey, thank you, Portable.
That was Europe stepping up. This is again Europeans stepping up. So I've been in contact with many countries. I can tell you that at this moment, Germany massively, but also Finland and Denmark and Sweden and Norway, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, Canada, they all want to be part of this. And this is only the first wave. There will be more. So what we will do is work through the NATO systems to make sure that we know what Ukrainians need, so that we can make packages. Of course, in a way, we discussed it this morning with Pete Hegseth at the Pentagon, in a way that, of course, the US...
This is NATO Secretary Mark Rutte. He's the NATO guy.
Will keep on its stockpiles necessary to defend this country. That's absolutely clear. But it will mean that Ukraine can get its hands on really massive numbers of military equipment, both for air defense, but also missiles, ammunition, etc., etc. So if I was Vladimir Putin today and hear you speaking about what you are planning to do in 50 days and this announcement, I would reconsider.
You said so much for the U.S. dropping out of NATO. that was a MAGA. That was like a line for maggots to hold on to for your little isolationists that thought that was ever going to be a thing. I laugh at that. It was always going to be the countries pay more, not us take out. That was just a threat. That was Trump just threatening them. Little bluff. But that's never going to be a thing. Never, ever.
Whether I should not take negotiations about Ukraine more seriously.
Especially since the U.S. is in charge of it, basically. Like, we're like the top dog in it, all right? We ain't giving that up.
I was doing it at the moment, if I was Vladimir Putin. But when I'm Ukraine, I think this is really great news for that. So I really want to thank you for that. That means the Europeans paying for it. And again, I mentioned all these countries, we will deal with that. And exactly as you said, it might also mean that countries will move equipment fast into Ukraine and then the US later backfilling it because speed is of the essence here. So really, thank you. This is important.
You did a great job. That's a really great job. We've been very successful in settling wars. You have India, Pakistan.
India and Pakistan are not, it's not solved. Let me just see. Is there like let me see here. We solved India, Pakistan, guys. Pakistan's nuclear backtrack weeks after full spectrum. Wow. The remarks were widely interpreted as an official Pakistani signal that nuclear options are being kept on the table in the event of an escalation. Yeah, it's looking good, Trump. Yep. Things are looking good between India and Pakistan. New Delhi, Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has said that the country's nuclear program is intended strictly for peaceful purposes and self-defense. Oh boy. Drawing a contrast to earlier statements by senior Pakistani officials who had openly threatened nuclear retaliation in the event of a conflict with India. Mr. Sharif's remarks, delivered on Saturday while addressing a group of Pakistani students, come less than 2 months after a senior Pakistani diplomat explicitly warned of using the full spectrum of power, both conventional and nuclear, in the context of rising tensions with New Delhi. We solved India and Pakistan. Give me Nobel Peace Prize. Meanwhile, India and Pakistan, we are literally about to nuke each other. We will literally nuke India. Like, it's gonna happen. That conflict has been going for a long time. I'm not even going to pretend like I know about it completely, but it is India and Pakistan have a complex and largely hostile relationship that is rooted in multiple historical and political events, most notably in the partition of British India in 1940. So since 1947. And it's, wow, the British are connected to it. The Brits really just absolutely fucking scrambled the whole world up and said, all right, we're going home. We're done. We solved it. We solved India, Pakistan, guys.
You have Rwanda and the Congo that was going on for 30 years. India, by the way, and Pakistan would have been a nuclear war within another week, the way that was going. That was going very badly. And we did that through trade. I said, we're not going to talk to you about trade unless you get this thing settled, and they did. And they were both great leaders, and they were great. But Rwanda and the Congo, that was going on for 30 years, and at least 7 million people killed, and killed with a lot of pretty rough weapons like machetes, heads chopped off, going on for many years. You couldn't even get near the countries. Nobody wanted to get near it, so frightening. And we got that one solved. Serbia, Kosovo, got that solved. That was going to be one that was going to happen. And again, that was something I used. I use trade for a lot of things, but it's great.
When did Trump solve Serbia and Kosovo?
For settling wars.
Did that happen?
That was really very important. We're working.
Is he claiming a Clinton win here? Is he claiming a Clinton W?
Marco is working very hard with everybody here on the Strip, the Gaza Strip. I call it the Gaza Strip, one of the worst real estate deals ever made. They gave up the oceanfront property, one of the worst deals ever made. But it was supposed to bring peace, and it didn't bring peace. It brought the opposite. But we're doing pretty well on Gaza. Steve Witkoff is here, and I think we could have something fairly.
So, okay, well that we can unpack that too. So, so he's calling Gaza just like real estate, and that the Gazans got away with some good real estate, and the Israelis should have never let the Gazans get that real estate because it's good oceanfront property. But we'll fix that. That's basically what that's what Trump just said.
Soon to talk about. And we solved other one that we just seem to have, Armenia and Azerbaijan. It looks like that's going to come to a conclusion, successful conclusion. We worked
Armenia and Azerbaijan. Wow, so many wins here.
On Egypt with a next door neighbor who it's a good neighbor. They're friends of mine, but they happened to build a dam which closed up water going into a thing called the Nile. I think if I'm Egypt, I want to have water in the Nile. And
they took the water out of the Nile because that's what I remember it in Sunday school, and we sang about the Nile and the river.
We're working on that one problem, but it's going to get solved.
That's the one Jesus walked on, right?
One of the biggest dams in the world, a little bit outside of Egypt. You know about that? You've been hearing
you know about that?
One.
You know about that one?
And that
I know about that.
To be a big problem. I don't know. I think the United States funded the dam. I don't know why they didn't solve the problem before they built the dam. But it's nice when the Nile River has water. It's a very important source of income in life. It's the life of Egypt. And to take that away is pretty incredible. But we think we're going to have that solved very quickly.
Wow, we're gonna have the Nile, guys. Did you know the Nile didn't have water in it? I guess. Yeah, they're gonna solve that too. That'll be for sure.
So we do good. The only one we haven't been able to get to yet is Russia.
Russia. We've solved all this, all of these things we've solved, except Russia. Haven't solved a single thing, bro. The definition of like taking victory laps while winning nothing.
I'm not happy, and I will tell you that Ukraine wants to do something. Again, it's a war that should have never started.
Biden, if I wasn't president, it would have never started. This is Biden's war.
If I were president, it never would have happened. I used to speak to President Putin about it a lot. It was the apple of his eye. But once I saw what was going on, I said, you know, they're gonna have a war here. I was outside. Election
I was
rigged.
outside. The rigged election, the election I was supposed to. God, he cries about everything.
Outside looking in, and I said, you know, that thing's going to be a war. Couldn't believe it, because what Biden said was the exact opposite of what should have been said.
What did Biden say? What did Biden say? What were the words Biden said?
And it started, and it's a real mess. We're losing, I guess they're losing 5,000 or 6,000 people a day. It's actually now more. I was saying 5.
Who's losing 5,000 or 6,000? Who? Which side? Is it Ukraine? I wish it's not Russia, unfortunately. I wish it was, but it's not. Who's 5,000 losses a day? Damn, dude, if we saw 5,000 Russian losses, I would do a whole stream about it. Be like, damn, biggest losses in one day. I mean, they're up there. That's 1,000 troops is still 1,000 troops. Let's not get it twisted, but like 5,000 is a significant number. That would be a lot.
1,000. It's actually more now. Mostly soldiers, but a lot of people in cities and towns that are getting blown up to. It's a horrible war, and it should be stopped. And so if it's not done, if we don't have an agreement in 50 days, that's what we're doing. Secondary tariffs, and they're biting. And I hope we don't get to the point where we do, but I've been hearing so much talk. It's all talk. It's all talk, and then missiles go into Kiev and kill 60 people. It's got to stop. That's got to stop. But the purpose of this is to say that there's a very big deal we've made. This is billions of dollars worth of military equipment is going to be purchased from the United States, going to NATO, etc. And that's going to be quickly distributed to.
The other thing that's about this is going to like actually do nothing except for the Patriots. I have hope for that. That's cool. If Ukraine can get 17 Patriot systems, that'd be lit. But like this won't stop Russia's invasion at all. Like it'll just help defend Ukrainian cities, which is important, still important, but won't actually like do anything serious to like help Ukraine have a counterattack or anything like that. And then Trump, you're gonna have Trump boasting about this forever. He'll never let you forget it. And then I made NATO do 5%, and then I sent them $10 billion of weapons. That's way more than Biden. It's not. But he's going to say that, and it'll be forever. Just like he will brag about the fucking javelins from when he was president the first time that Ukraine, he gave Ukraine like a week's worth of javelins, and he still will bring that up as if like, I did it. I helped Ukraine. I gave them javelins. Remember? They would have died without those javelins. It'll be the same thing here. So get ready for that too.
The battlefield, Ukraine will take it up. And you know, say what you want about Ukraine. When the war started, they had no chance, and they still would have had no chance if the equipment they had the best equipment, because we do make.
Because we gave them. Oh, please don't do it. Don't do it. Don't credit the Ukrainian resolve at the start of the war to your fucking javelins. I didn't think you were gonna act. I haven't seen this. I didn't know he was actually gonna do it.
They still would have had no chance if the equipment they had the best equipment, because we do make the best planes and missiles, and we make the best military equipment in the world.
Yeah, and we didn't give them anything until the counteroffensive started. We were trying to get Zelensky out of there. We were trying to evac Zelensky. We weren't giving weapons. We were like, hey, Zelensky, you gotta get out of there, dude. The Russians are coming. Zelensky was like, nope, I'm staying. And then everyone was like, oh, uh-oh. Well, that isn't what we wanted. And then Ukraine fought back, and then they had a counterattack. And then NATO was like, hey, we should probably help them now. Hey, I think we should help them. They're doing better than we thought. Let's give them some HIMARS.
By far. You know, we have new things coming out that are beyond belief, and I'm very excited about the Golden Dome. It's going to give us
the Golden Dome, the Golden Shower Dome, the Golden Dome.
We've already started that, but they had courage, because somebody has to use that equipment, and they fought with tremendous courage, and they continue to fight with tremendous courage. But they don't have. They're losing on equipment, and Russia's really taken a very positive, very strong. I mean, what they've done the last couple of weeks.
Without military reasons. So what they're doing is 700 drones a day, missiles, bombing cities. This is
No, Mark Rutte's trying to correct him, but Trump is trying to say, and look at how great Russia is. He's going off course a little bit. Trump's default is to glaze Russia. So Trump is like, wow, and like Russia's taken some ground, and like they've been doing something, because they have been. And I give Pokrovsk, Communigrad another month or two, and that's going to be occupied, unfortunately. Okay, saying it's getting bad over here in Kochtinivka. It's not, front lines are not good. They're not good anywhere. Got a little counterattack northeast of Seversk. That's good. But it's not good anywhere, really, except for where nothing's happening. That's about it. Where the Russians aren't advancing, when it's just kind of stable, that's the good, I guess. But it's not going well. But Trump is defaulting there to look at how good Russia is.
not because of military goals. It is just creating panic, keeping people out of their sleeps, hitting towns. It's really terrible, and it is meaning a lot of people lose their lives, but also the infrastructure, whole cities being
Well, they're wiping out the electric. It's going to take years to rebuild it. That's going to be the next problem. Because, but that's going to take a long time. Cities, many of the cities are knocked down to the ground. Many of the people have left, but many have stayed. I don't know. They actually stay. And most have stayed. Actually, it's incredible that they stay, and knowing that a missile could be hitting your apartment house, and your apartment house that you're sitting in could collapse on top of you.
Yeah, that's because that's everything they have. It's their stuff. They're not a billionaire that can just go and have like 18 different residencies and 4 different citizenships and go fuck off somewhere else. Okay, the people live there. It's their home. They don't have any other home, so that's why they can't leave, or they don't leave.
And they do very heavy construction. They don't use rebar. They do very thick concrete construction. Those are heavy buildings, big buildings and heavy buildings, and they collapse like they're made out of paper. It's unbelievable to see this happening with people, so many people.
What's wrong with the Golden Dome? Everything is wrong with it. Everything. We don't have foreign threats trying to bomb us. We don't have foreign threats trying to invade us. It just doesn't happen. That's taxpayer money that's being spent when taxpayer money is being taken away, and benefits are being stripped from taxpayers, and people that pay the government already, they're getting less money, and they're getting less benefits or outright losing them. So some dumb fuck Golden Dome that we don't need, when how much money is that cost? When there's things that need to be the same dumb fuck arguments. I'm making the same arguments that y'all were making when we were sending money to Ukraine, but I was actually making sense because I was telling you 90% of it was coming back into the US, into our economy. Aid was getting approved, but jobs were being created in the US and our factories were working. And again, 90% of it was coming right back in. It was actually like 87 to 90% within that margin. You're the ones that talk about spending money on dumb fuck shit. Oh, we can't spend money on this. We can't spend money on that. We can't spend money on this. As if you're like the U.S., you're the guy in charge of the money. I can't stand conservatives that do that. I literally hate you. Like, hate it. As if conservatives are responsible for the money spending of the U.S. Go fuck yourself. I want you to know that. You should go fuck yourself. Okay? I can't stand it, dude. It is the worst thing ever. When they act like they're the monopoly man of America. We can't spend money this. We can't spend money there. We don't have enough money for that. You're an idiot. You're a fucking moron. Okay? And you should stop. But yet you're okay with a Golden Dome. We have the Golden Dome and then it'll stop Russia. That Russia is not militarily invading the U.S. They're destabilizing us through this moron. The one that's sitting there with the stupid tie and he can't even sit up straight because he's so obese. And it's his body, he's so lazy, and he doesn't have any posture left in his back because he's so fucking lazy and old and fat that he can't sit up straight anymore. That guy. Russia's paying this guy and working through this guy, but you're worried about having a stupid dumb fuck Golden Dome system.
So we think we're going to make progress, and we hope we're going to make progress. In the meantime, we're going to get you good service on what you need. And we really became friendly with NATO this last meeting. You know, we went from 2% to 5%, which everyone said was not even a possibility. They weren't paying 2%. Many of them were paying much less than 2%.
But even those, since you became president, all committed to the 2% before the summit. And now collectively we committed to the 5%.
That's right, they did. And they've been very good. And I think I made a lot of friends over there. We had a couple of days of very intensive talks. And they're great people. They're leaders of countries. Leaders of countries.
They're leaders of countries. Thanks, Trump. Incredible.
Many of them great countries, some of them smaller countries, but for the most part, that's a very solid, strong countries, and very successful. Some of them are among the most successful countries in the world.
Wow.
So that's the story. We hope that's going to have an impact on Vladimir Putin, and we hope it's going to have an impact on Ukraine also. We want to make sure that Ukraine does what they have to do. All of a sudden they may feel emboldened, or maybe they don't want. This is a very difficult situation.
Ukraine wants a peace deal.
I think so.
And they will stay committed to that, there's no doubt. They want this. But the Russians have to become...
They have to continue to want it, though.
Yeah, I agree. But you and I will make sure of that.
All of a sudden they get no...
You and I will make sure of that.
Well,
I didn't vote for him because I liked him, Andrew. I voted for him because his policy. What policy? What policy did Trump have? Other than outright absolute fascism in the United States. So either you're accepting the fact that you're a fascist and you liked his fascism, because there ain't enough single fucking economic or geopolitical anything that he ran on that would have been appealing to you or anybody. Not a single thing. Not one single thing other than the mass deportations in the US, and you hate trans people. And you want to keep trans people out of sports.
I feel confident that they will do what has to be done.
Guy's the dumbest fucking person ever. The dumbest.
And plus, we have certain...
If you have a child, your child is absolutely smarter than Donald Trump. Absolutely smarter.
Parameters that both sides know, and we already know what should be done. So I think that's going to be it's going to be very strong. We want everlasting peace. Any questions, France? Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President. What was the tipping point for you in making this decision? Was it a conversation with President Putin? Was it a piece of intelligence? And why are you giving 50 more days?
I think I think it's a very short period of time. I think
50 days is not. It's really not. It's not a short period. It's almost 3 months. That's 10 days short of 3 months. No, sorry, 2 months. 10 days short of 2 months. And in this time, and in this administration, and how fast things change on a daily basis, hourly basis, the firestorms that happen out of nowhere on a Tuesday, like that is a long time. That is a long time, and that's 50 days of Putin continuing to bomb Ukraine, or as you say, and bomb Kyiv, as you say.
I think they'll forget. I've just really been involved in this for not very long, and it wasn't initial focus.
I would have rather him said 2 weeks. You should have just said 2 weeks. 50 days is a long time. Actually.
Again, this is a Biden war. This is a Democrat.
Biden war. This is a Democrat war. Holy, he's so cooked. He's so done, dude. It's so done for MAGA, and I'm so happy for that. I really am.
I think they'll forget. I've just really been involved in this for not very long.
This is a Democrat war.
And it wasn't initial focus. This is a Biden war. This is a Democrat war, not a Republican or Trump war.
What? This is a Biden Democrat war, not a Trump Republican one. This is why, guys, I miss you guys. I really do. But this is why I game and go on my gaming channel and stay there, because this is beyond my, and this is like, I'm not even the smartest person. Okay. I am not that smart, but this is below me. Bro, this is holy fuck, dude. It just literally throws me. I can't. And the people that support this dude, like, I want, like, I'm ready to take up I'm ready to get a militia started to stop this shit, because I can't handle it. I truly can't. I don't care. Fuck your opinion. I don't want, this is just dumb, and it needs to stop. Enough is enough. Enough is a fucking enough. Like, it's just, like, I don't know if you, it owns the libs. It owns the libs, and I don't like libs, so the Trump is what does that for me. I'm ready to battle you for that now. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to fight you for that now. Like, if we were in the olden days Like if we were in the actual olden days, I would absolutely raise up a militia and go and fight whoever was like lying for Trump on this at this point. But I have the freedom of my opinion. Yeah, you have the freedom to go to war too. How about that? Here comes my army. Here comes my military. Let's do it. I ain't playing your fucking games anymore. I swear to God, dude. I lived in the barbarian times or whatever. Or if I was like a pirate, I would be raiding the MAGA villages and pillaging. I would be raiding and pillaging all of their bumfuck villages. Every single one in a video game.
This is a war that would have never happened. It shouldn't have happened. A lot of people being killed. When the final numbers come in, you're going to see a lot more people are being killed in this war than you think, than you've been writing about. It's a very deadly war. They're all bad, but this is a very deadly war. The numbers are going to be far greater. When an apartment house comes down, and they say 2 people were slightly injured. No, many people were killed. And those numbers will be at some point accurately reported. So far, they're not. It's a deadly war. I think that you're just going to see. I think you're going to see strong movement. I hope so. I hope so.
And what about
the secondary tariffs are very, very powerful.
What about
Are they? You
the
can barely say that without stuttering. You're like falling asleep while you're talking. The secondary tariffs are very powerful. I was told to say that. The Heritage Foundation paid me to, and Israel.
Secondary tariffs are very, very powerful.
What about the tariffs that the Republicans in the House and the Senate have ready? Those were 500%. Why are you doing 100%?
Well, the Republicans are moving very strongly in the Senate, giving us total control of it, but...
tired Trump slip. Oh, we know. We know you have full control of the Senate, and the Republicans are just cucks. They just sit there.
I'm not sure we need it, but it's certainly good that they're doing it. And Lindsey Graham's working hard. The whole John Thune, all of them, they're all working hard. And they're in coordination with Mike Johnson, Speaker in the House. And
Not for long.
They've actually crafted a pretty good piece of...
Guys, when it should be in like a few months. It should be like November-ish. When does midterms are next year? But we should be having midterm stuff coming up in a few months. So the light at the tunnel is coming. Doesn't mean everything will be fixed. You'll still have the Senate. He'll still be the president for another 3 years, right? And the Supreme Court. But if the House can get flipped, then nothing will happen unless you have Democrats in there that will, and then they're gonna get shit. I'm gonna shit on them. I'll be the most anti-Democrat person ever if like we get a Democrat House back, and then you got Democrats that are voting to help MAGA do shit. That would be a bad day to be a Democrat if you have a Democrat that does that. I'm not seeing it right now in the House. They're kind of unified right now. It's good to see. Senate, different. Can be. You got like Fetterman and shit. I don't know what the hell that guy is. I don't know what his problem is. But with the House flipped, the bills can't pass. Just like when the Republicans were in charge of the House when Biden was president. They didn't have full control of the government. Biden was president. There was a Democratic Senate, but the House was able to stop everything. Hey, we'll stop things from happening. That's what's going to happen here when the Democrats take back power. I'm hoping so. I don't think they'll take back the Senate. I don't think they'll flip both. That's hopium. It's still hopium for the House too, but like at least there's some strong hopium there because of Trump's own actions. This has been a dog shit 6 months, and people want at least some type of relief. People are desperately looking for relief from this administration. And the easiest way to get that would be to flip the House, which is the easiest one to do. Senate, not so easy. Harder, way harder. House, very easy. Not very easy, but easier. Easier pathway. And any of his that's why they tried to rush the big beautiful bill, you guys. The big bullshit bill. Because he knows that it's cooked, just like it was in his first term. The House was flipped. And this is worse. This is like he was riding off of Obama's economy. And it was just like the news stories alone of how bad he was in the news. But now everyone's like feeling it. Like we all feel how bad it is. Like it's being felt like people are losing their jobs because of these massive decisions that are just like broad strokes. Okay, they're doing broad stroke decisions that are affecting a fuckload of people, even people that voted for him. Whereas in the first administration, like you had some, I'm trying to think back to like 2018. I think the Unite the Right rally took place, if I recall. But you had like bad things like that take place. But this is like, this time it's been worse on every level than his first term. Because again, the first term he got to ride on Biden's economy a little bit, but there was so much anti-Biden propaganda about the economy that it kind of like shielded Trump a little bit here, and it still is, because people were lied to that Biden caused inflation and we were living in hell and all of this bullshit nonsense. All of this nonsense. It's just not true. Biden inherited the COVID economy, which was bad, and then Russia's invasion of Ukraine also spiked inflation. So it's like you had post-COVID inflation, and then Russia's invasion of Ukraine caused more, and gas prices went up too. And instead of being like, oh, Russia did it, MAGA decided to blame Biden. And they decided to say this is Biden's fault, and Biden did this, and Biden did that, and Biden caused COVID, and Biden was like, and it would be one thing is if Biden inherited that and made it worse. Okay. Like Biden became president, and then inflation remained at like 7% or something. Like that would be, if we were at 7% inflation now, I don't know what I would do. It'd be the most anti-democratic person ever, because that would be the worst. But that didn't happen. That didn't happen though. Biden got it down to like 2.3% or 3.2 or 2.3. I'm sorry. I'm just going off of memory here, but it's very low compared to when he became president. That shows progress. That shows when Biden became president to when he left, the inflation rate was going downward. You will never have 0% inflation. Yeah, you want it low, but you actually don't want zero, because then the economy won't grow. You need the economy to grow, so you need a little bit of inflation. But Biden lowered it down to where it wasn't hurting Americans at scale, like where it was when we returned back to the world. And honestly, it was the fault of the corporations. And as a consumer, when you go and buy products, they were not lowering the cost back to like pre-COVID times, because the demand, like when we all were locked down at home, we weren't buying shit, we weren't going anywhere, so they were able to raise prices to make up for that, right? Corporations were able to do that because we were consuming less. When we went back out in the world in 2021, 2022, those prices never came back. The prices never went back to how they were before COVID, before they had to adjust for the demand lowering. And that really screwed people. Actually, that's what screwed up more people than anything, was the prices didn't go back. Okay, but Biden really worked hard for policies, gave child tax credits, infrastructure bill, the CHIPS Act, and again did lower inflation. The unemployment rate was never a problem. We don't have an unemployment issue. If you want a job in America, you don't have to have a single skill, and you can get a skill job right now. That's what it's like out here. I promise you. You could get a job and they'll train you. Yeah, we just need a body. We just need a human being. Come here, we'll train you. They'll pay you to work. They'll pay you to get trained up and everything, or join a union. That's even better. That would probably be better actually for you. But or at least a corporate job or a corporate labor that you get benefits at least. Okay, one or the other. Either union, or if you're working for corporate, then make sure you get a good package, good benefits package. If you're not getting that, then you should go find a different job. And you can do that. We don't have a job issue at all. Okay. And we didn't during Biden's presidency, but MAGA was lied to the whole time, right? MAGA was told that we are living in hell. Biden has no control of the government. You got the auto pen signing random bills. The inflation rate is out of control. All of our money is going to Ukraine. Oh my God. None of that was true. None of that was true. And now that we're living in a reality where Trump, is the president now, and all of these like realities and all of these falsehoods and conspiracies are just not landing anymore, or like they're like, well, I thought no more wars, and here we are bombing Iran. I thought no more. I thought the tariff. What is a tariff? And now people are losing their businesses. Oh, he said he didn't know what was in Project 2025. People are losing their Medicare. People are losing their health insurance, and people are getting emails like I'm seeing that get posted, or their Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood can't get their medications now because they lost their funding, and people are already seeing the effects of this. So it's it's not going to go well for him in the midterms. I think. I hope so. And that could be the first and one of the few things that knock this MAGA bullshit down, actually, because they're kind of knocking themselves down right now. Like I said, between Epstein, bombing Iran, the tariffs, the ICE raids. Well, that's some of the most viral content there is. I'm telling you, chat. Think about it right now. When I'm just kind of ranting and like talking about it all, not too many people. I mean, we have an amazing amount of people here, but when we're covering those ICE raids, there are thousands of people watching, and it is overwhelmingly not pro-ICE. Okay, we get new every time there is one. We tune in, thousands of people, and they're not with the ICE thing either. And we're on YouTube too, which is a more conservative platform, and they're coming on YouTube, not supporting that shit. And we don't want this. We didn't want that, and they're grabbing people from their work. I thought we were going to be deporting people, the criminals and the MS-13s. I didn't think we were going to be. What do you think mass deportations mean? I think it means just vibes, just the onesie and two. No, when he said mass deportations, he was going to grab whoever was an immigrant, start deporting them. Got the concentration camp in Florida, for Christ's sake. It's not good. Okay, there's lots of things that are stacking up for him right now that are not good. Not at all. I'm ranting again because there's just a lot to rant about these days.
Legislation is probably going to pass very easily, and that includes Democrats. And there's some little tweaks, but I don't want to say I don't need it because I don't want them to waste their time. It could be very useful. We'll have to see. But we can do secondary. We're probably talking about 100% or something like that.
So can you clarify?
We can do secondary. We can do secondary tariffs without the Senate, without the House. But what they're crafting also could be very good.
So are you suggesting then that the Congress should move forward with those sanctions, the 500%, and that your 100 would be a separate additional package?
Yeah, I mean, the 500 is, sort of meaningless after a while because at a certain point it doesn't matter. It's not going to be, it's 100. 100 is going to serve the same function. But, yeah, I have it at 100%. They may have it, I don't know what they're going to end up with. They may have it at 100 too. They may have it at 500. But they're doing some good work in the House, and I think in the House and the Senate. And as you know, they're coordinated, and they can have it done quickly. They said they'll have it as quickly as I need it. So we'll see. We're talking to him. In fact, John Thune's coming over later on to talk.
Did you talk for it yet?
Yeah, he's gonna come over.
Thank you, Mr. President. Isn't your
So why does Sky News have the title U.S. sends weapons to NATO to help Ukraine while Europe is paying for them? Shouldn't Europe get all the credit? I know you don't make their title. Sky News is owned by the same guy who owns Fox News. There you go. That's what I got.
View that Vladimir Putin mischaracterized his dedication to.
But it also says, but it is kind of true though. We're like, it's not for free, I guess. That would be the thing. But we are sending weapons to NATO to help Ukraine. Like that is what's happening. We're not giving weapons to Ukraine. We're selling weapons to NATO countries to them to give to Ukraine, which honestly, you know what's going to actually happen? Those weapons we're giving to NATO are going to stay in NATO, and NATO will give Ukraine their hand-me-downs. So it's just what we were doing for Ukraine, but extra steps, and not directly from the U.S. anymore. So that's why it's like good that Ukraine's getting aid, but like this is still in the same line of nonsense from him.
Your view that Vladimir Putin did not clarify his intention to a peace deal. And what happens now in the next phase? Is there?
We're going to see. I mean, we're going to go for a period of time. Maybe he'll start negotiating. I think I felt, I don't know about you, Mark, but I felt that we had a deal about 4 times. Mm-hmm. And here we are, still talking about it.
And he didn't send.
Are you guys still talking about Epstein?
Serious people to the negotiations. So I remember that you were able with Marco Rubio and with Steve Witkoff to get these talks going.
Are we still talking about that?
In Istanbul.
Yep.
I remember I was myself in Turkey for NATO business in May, and we really put pressure on the Ukrainians to send a senior team into Istanbul, and they did. But then the Russians came up with this historian explaining history of Russia since 1250.
He said NATO interoperability has always been a great deal for the U.S. Yeah, it has. Yep. It's always kind of been like that. Sales pipeline, he's acting like he came up with this. It's Trump. He claims credit for the shit he didn't do. It's the art of the deal.
He thought, and I thought, we should
never admit any faults and claim credit for everything.
had a deal done a long time ago. But it just keeps going on and on and on. And every night people are dying. A lot of Russian soldiers are dying, by the way. And a lot of Ukrainian soldiers too. But
see how he says the Russian soldiers first?
A lot of Russian soldiers are dying.
And he reiterates them too, because he cares more about them. Because he cares more about Russia. And he's just so upset that Putin isn't wanting to have this symbiosis right now. He's just so upset with Putin. But don't get it twisted. This ain't like, okay, I want to start bombing Moscow now. He's just frustrated that Putin ain't coming to the table that Trump wants. Putin has a table set already that he wants, that he wants to return the Soviet Union to power. And Donald Trump is on some other shit, but still owned by Russia at the same time, so he can't really fight back. But he's just frustrated that Putin's not coming to his table, which is still absolutely beneficial to Russia. It's still a table that is golden and absolutely just a beautiful Russian table for Russia to sit at and be happy. But it ain't the one Putin wants, because like Putin has bigger plans. He's not done after Ukraine.
Soldiers since 1st of January. Since January, 100,000 Russian soldiers dead since January. So if anybody in Moscow is listening to this, again, 100,000 dead Russians since January. This is what President Putin is doing at the moment.
Yeah, please.
Will these be Patriot missiles specifically, or Patriot batteries that you're planning? And when do you expect?
Good question.
Patriots, it's all of them.
Okay, Trump doesn't know that. It's important to know. Is it like the launcher? The whole system is like multiple parts. So it's like let me try to do the whole Patriot missile system. It's more than just like a rocket or like a missile. It's like the whole thing. Here's the whole. My laundry. What's that code talk? Flipping. I have softball tonight. I'm gonna go touch grass. Okay, which is what all of you should do as well in some way, shape, or form. But Mondays are my touch grass nights, so I have to get ready for that.
That unit then processes the information before sending it to the launching station.
See how many parts there are to this, though? That's why I'm showing you this. Like, it's informational, but it's more than just like, you know, the actual. So no one knew if the Patriot system could shoot down a hypersonic missile, and it did.
Це довели українці.
Yeah, no one was able. I mean, it's always theories, right? And Ukraine had to test that theory, and it's worth every penny, though. Dude.
Each Patriot.
That's what in Qatar, when Iran was responding and attacking U.S. bases or whatever in Doha, that was Patriots. That's why you have to use the Patriots in conjunction with other air defense, because those are going for the ballistic. You want those for your hypersonic and ballistic missiles, okay? And then you're gonna have like the CRAM, and you're gonna have another one that I can't think of right now. It's on the top. Ukraine has their own too. Ukraine has their own air defense systems, but there's another specific one that I'm just being brain dumb on right now. So I just wanted to show you what the Patriot was. Patriot missile battery, it's more than just like a rocket tube.
It's a full complement with the batteries.
And when you
And Trump isn't going to know what that means.
expect them to arrive in Ukraine, sir?
Well, we're going to have some come very soon, within days, actually. Because a couple of the countries that have Patriots are going to swap over, and will replace the Patriots with the ones they have, and Matt will coordinate with NATO. But so
Matt.
It's going to be, they're going to start arriving very soon.
And this afternoon, Boris Pistorius, the German defense minister, is visiting Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, and we'll discuss also, I think, on this whole Patriot thing. Norway is involved, so that's on the Patriots, but this whole deal is also about missiles, about ammunition, so it's broader than Patriots.
We have one country that has 17 Patriots getting ready to be shipped. They're not going to need them for them. So
is that where we get the 17 from? Oh boy. I trust that now even less. If we're getting the 17 because Trump said it sitting down here, oh.
We're going to work a deal where the
so that really means you're probably getting like 2.5.
17 will go, or a big portion of the 17 will go.
Oh boy.
To the war side.
Mr. President.
That can be done very quickly.
Mr. President.
Mr. President,
Yeah, please.
could this transaction with NATO be viewed as a step towards achieving peace, letting Putin know that now Zelensky has a little bit more powerful tools in his tool chest, and maybe that brings him to the table to achieve peace? So I know that you wanted to do that.
Wow, the Biden strategy. Have you thought of that? Have you thought of doing what Biden was doing? That sounds good. Then you can claim credit for it and say you thought of it.
Brian, that's what we've been saying. I think you might have expressed it better if you wanted to.
I'm just trying to
exactly what
that's a summary.
That was a nice summary. You might. I think he's done better than us.
That's Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend too. I believe that asked that one.
He's a very good guy. I can tell you that. But,
oh yeah.
No, it's well said. Yeah, I think this is a chance at getting peace.
Wow.
Or it's just going to be the same thing. I have to tell you, Europe has a lot of spirit for this war. A lot of people, when I first got involved,
thank you for the follow on Twitch.
Brain
farts.
And I saw that a month ago, and you were there. Most of you, many of you were there. The level of esprit de corps, spirit that they have is amazing.
I wonder why, Trump. I wonder why. Maybe because they're watching Russia invade Ukraine, and it's like 2 countries away, or like 1 country away. Even though Poland doesn't act like it anymore. But other countries, it's like 1 or 2 countries away. Not that far, and rockets are flying.
They really think it's a very, very important...
So, or like right next door, rockets are landing.
Thing to do, or they wouldn't be doing it. Look, they're agreeing to... Just they're paying for everything. We're not paying anymore. We have an ocean separating us. I said, we have a problem. We make the best stuff, but we can't keep doing this. And Biden should have done this years ago. He should have done it from the beginning, but he didn't. He didn't know he was there.
Biden.
This guy, what a horrible job they did to this country. And I just hope between the border and this and so many other inflation, what a horrible...
There you go. Like I said, blaming inflation on Biden as if Biden created the inflation. If anything, you make a good argument that Trump contributed to the inflation with his handling of COVID while he was president, when he left office, not willingly.
Administration, the worst administration in history, in my opinion. That's not my opinion. I think it's everybody's opinion.
That's what everybody says, not me, even though I say it every single time the cameras are on.
But this is something that shouldn't have happened, and we're going to see if we can end it.
If I can follow up.
I do want to make one statement.
Oh,
again, I said it before.
Let's hear it.
This is not Trump's war.
Oh boy, this ain't mine. All right, this is Biden war. This is the Democrat war. Okay, this is the woke war.
We're here to try and get it finished and settled. Whatever.
Yeah, and whatever this shit is. We didn't start this.
Because nobody wins with this. This is a loser from every standpoint. This was Biden, and this was
the Democrats.
And
Biden did it. Biden's war.
It's very sad. It's a very sad situation. This gentleman's doing a great job. I think he's going to get it, and Matt and everybody else that's working on it. I think you'll get this thing over with. Hopefully.
Mr. President, you've praised European countries today as standing up for Ukraine, as being strong. Will you allow them to continue to negotiate tariffs lower than 30% before August 1st, or is the deal set at this point?
What does that mean? You mean you're talking?
Are you gonna extend your tariff deadline like you have multiple times now? What?
About the tariffs?
On trade, on tariffs.
You're back on tariffs. You're on a more friendly tariff, right? A little bit more friendly tariff. No, we're going to be talking to people. We have, I watched the show this morning. They were talking about, well, when's he going to make the deal? The deals are already made. The letters are the deals.
And you have 2. You have one from one Asian country that I can't remember, Vietnam, I think, and then the UK did one with you. That was cute.
Deals are made. There are no deals to make. They would like to do a different kind of a deal, and we're always open to talk. We are open to talk, including to Europe. In fact, they're coming over. They'd like to talk to us.
Mr. President, is there any concern about the U.S. stockpiles? There was a pause in delivery of weaponry to Ukraine. in order to evaluate, apparently, the U.S. stockpiles. What came out of that?
Evaluation. I mean, this was a very big, what we're talking about today is a very, very big day. And what Pete was doing, and me too, I knew what Pete was doing, was evaluation, because we knew this was going to happen. And
you knew what was going to happen. You stopped to evaluate the weapons that were going to Ukraine because you knew you were going to have to help Ukraine. What are you even saying?
now we actually announced it. They voted on it. It's all been done. So obviously that has a big impact on, you know, when you say pause, obviously you're not going to be doing things if you don't know what's going to happen here. But we were pretty sure this was going to happen, so we did a little bit of a pause.
That makes absolutely zero fucking sense. That makes absolutely no sense. Weapons are in Poland on the train going to Ukraine to help, or to help them fight. We had to stop it to evaluate it so that way we could help them.
But this is a very big, event today. This is something very
wow. Wow, but hey, but don't forget, this is a big news. This is a big event. Big, 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 big. Anyone that hypes up Trump's actions at this point, like, clown. Anyone that genuinely gets excited about Trump announcements is a fucking clown. Okay? Town's clown. Or grifter. Grifter clown. Because there's some grift there. If you try to hype up Trump as if it's like, oh boy, it's gonna happen. Because you're playing with people's emotions, because people are desperately looking for help from Trump. Ukrainians specifically. They'll take anything at this point. And then you also have people that are like, is he gonna help? Probably not. And then if you're like one of those clowns that are like, this is gonna be the best Trump news ever. I told you all he would help. I was right.
If Putin escalates further, how far are you willing to go in response?
In what?
How far are you willing to go if Putin were to escalate, send more bombs in the coming days?
Don't ask me a question like that. How far? I want to get the war settled.
Don't ask me a question like that. You have no problem talking big at Iran. You have no problem talking big at Middle Eastern countries and what you're going to do if they don't follow your Israeli leadership and what they want to do. What the fuck? So she's asked a legit question. What are you going to do if, like, they continue to bomb Ukraine? Like, very legitimate question. Don't ask me that. Are you guys still talking about Epstein?
They're not Americans that are dying in it, and, you know, I have a problem.
There's not Americans that are dying in it. Even if there was, he wouldn't care. He wouldn't care at all.
And JD has a problem. It's a stance that he's had for a long time. They're not Americans dying, but
wow.
There are a lot of people dying, and on something that should be able to be settled. And we all agree with that. This group of people, that, you know, we want to defend our country, but, you know, ultimately, having a strong Europe is a very good thing. It's a very good thing. So I'm okay with that. Yeah, please, in the back.
Yeah, is there a ceiling on what the Europeans are willing to pay for? And it sounds like, are you ruling out the U.S. paying for from additional weapons through a drawdown authority?
Shall I try to answer? Because basically what the president is saying, that he is willing, of course, taking consideration what the U.S. needs itself. So it's not that you can have a shopping list and you can order whatever you want, because the U.S. has to make sure that the U.S. keeps his hand on what the US needs, also to keep the whole world safe, because in the end you are the police agent of the whole world. You're the most powerful nation on earth, the most powerful military on earth. But given that, the US has decided to indeed massively supply Ukraine with what is necessary through NATO. Europeans 100% paying for that. And what we have been doing over the last couple of days is talking.
So Trump has money in the drawdown authority to give to Ukraine, and just, oh my God. The level of criticism. I'm just, Roy. Is this Biden's drawdown? January 20th. Presidential drawdown, January 20th. I don't think Trump's used it. Trump considers greenlighting new funding for Ukraine. What to know about the U.S. NATO for weapons? President Trump said Monday he brokered a deal to send more weapons to Ukraine without burdening the U.S. while threatening Russia and President Putin with new sanctions. NATO weapons will be sourced from NATO allies in Europe. Trump and NATO sourcing weapons. Trump announced last week that he had struck a deal for NATO to purchase weapons from the U.S. to send to Ukraine. He said Monday that these systems will include Patriots. Yep. Okay. Top German officials told reporters in Kyiv last week that Berlin was in negotiations for weeks with the U.S. over the potential purchase and transfer of a Patriot. That's one battery. 17, though. The NATO support and procurement agency is the arm. Okay. Another avenue allies can use to procure weapons for Ukraine is purchasing them directly with the U.S. on a bilateral basis, with NATO helping to facilitate. We're going to make top-of-the-line weapons, and they'll be sent to NATO. NATO may choose to have certain of them sent to other countries where we can get a little additional speed, where the country will release. Okay. Drawdown authority. The U.S. still has $3.86 billion worth of presidential drawdown authority for Ukraine as part of appropriations provided by Congress. That's what I thought. So we have $3.86 billion still in that is appropriated for Ukraine. This allows for the U.S. to send weapons directly from the Pentagon stocks and use the money to purchase backfills, like Biden was doing. Former President Biden last provided a $500 billion drawdown. On January 9th, Trump is considering a drawdown package. The moves are likely to rankle Trump's MAGA base, of course, which oppose that's fine with me though. Good. I hope they all hate him at the end. This move will this is perfect. That's why I'm not really upset, because this move helps Ukraine, obviously. This move will absolutely make the MAGA base turn on him even harder. So it's like a win-win. Okay, Ukraine gets helped. Trump, even for Trump gets a little boost in support, but it might not, because he's got a cucked MAGA base that love Russia and hate Ukraine because they were told for 3 years to hate Ukraine and they don't know how to think for themselves. So they will still hate Ukraine. Okay. And that will hurt him, and that's good. So absolutely cheer on the aid to Ukraine. Throw it in MAGA's face. Do what you got to do. Hey, Trump's helping Ukraine. Cool. He said he wasn't going to. I don't know I don't struggle to find out where that's my problem. I struggle to see how that's why I didn't vote for him. I didn't vote for him. You're the clown that voted for him, or all of his lies, he said. Okay, so I don't see how that's any of my issue at all. So, Marjorie Taylor Greene, there you go. Is there a tweet here? Oh boy, she looks like a fucking cave person, doesn't she? Marjorie Taylor Greene's the descendant of a cave person, actually. Like, straight up. Like, there was some lineage there. And I think she wasn't too happy. Marjorie Taylor Greene isn't happy, guys. I never voted to send a single taxpayer penny to Ukraine. I've only called for peace. Opposing U.S. involvement in Ukraine was one of the most popular issues during the 2024 campaign. Oh, that's right. They went to Lindsey Graham's hometown and made a whole deal of it. Yeah, she's not happy.
I'm proud to announce that I've introduced amendments to the NDAA to block funding for the war in Ukraine.
So you got that. You got a big MAGA fucking cancer there with that. And good. Let them eat each other. Let them eat each other while Trump is able to salvage the only thing he can for some support, which would be to aid Ukraine, because he would. It just the majority of people that support Ukraine aren't going to be like, no, Trump, don't. No, don't support. No, they're not going to say shit. They're going to be like, yep. Now they're okay. Here comes some weapons. Better than nothing. But his MAGA base will absolutely freak out, and that's amazing. And I love that. So it's a win-win. Ukraine gets weapons, not enough. Not going to be enough to help win right now. You're going to have to wait for a Democrat to take back power, to be honest, or someone that actually cares. There will never be a package or a weapons aid from Trump that helped Ukraine win the war or help Ukraine seriously take back territory. It'll be enough to hold or try to hold. Well, Russia's taking some ground right now. Not good. But it's not going to be enough to be like, oh, God, this is better than Biden. And no, it never will get to that point. Ever. Never, ever. Not unless a Democrat takes back power and there's political capital to care about Europe at the time. We'll see, unless Trump brings us into a World War III in the Middle East again. Then there won't. I'm just trying to think of all the potential outcomes after Trump. Or we'll have an internal battle here in the U.S. if he tries to run again for president for the third term. Like, you got to realize the political capital there. There will be political capital for Europe to care, but in the U.S., like, one of the biggest issues, I wanted Kamala Harris for president because there would be a ability to care about things. And enough mental capacity to care. Whereas when Trump's president, like, we have 18 different things a day. Something new happens, or Elon's fighting with him, or whatever, or an ICE raid or something. It's just a lot of capital there that is, you got to pay attention to and understand that the political will at the time. But there will never be political will to support Ukraine to win while Trump is president.
With countries, and I just mentioned the ones who in the first wave immediately said we want to chip in, and then you're really talking about big numbers. Take Germany visiting today; they're really talking about big numbers.
Can we get some clarity?
I will say that I spoke with Germany, spoke with most of the larger countries, and they are really enthusiastic about this. They want to, and they're willing to go very far. I will tell you, as per your question, how far would I go? They want to go very far. They don't want this to happen. That's why I think from Putin's standpoint, it would really be good. He gets the country's economy is doing very poorly, and he's got to get his economy back. He's got to save his economy. He could save his country in a sense, but the economy can destroyed a lot of countries over the years. He wants to get that economy back. And, he's got a great country for trading and other things. If they could use the assets instead of war, he's got some tremendous potential. That's what I would say.
How did you deliver this news to Putin, sir?
Say it?
How did you tell Putin this was coming?
I speak to him a lot about getting this thing done. And I always hang up and say, well, that was a nice phone call. And then missiles are launched into Kiev or some other city. And I said, it's strange. And after that happens 3 or 4 times, you say, the talk doesn't mean anything. My conversations with him are always very pleasant. They say, isn't that a very lovely conversation? And then the missiles go off that night. I go home, I tell the First Lady, I spoke to Vladimir today. We had a wonderful conversation. She said, oh, really? Another city was just hit. So it's like, look, he's, I don't want to say he's an assassin.
Melania Trump. Watch Melania Trump get a statue in Ukraine somewhere.
But he's a tough guy. It's been proven over
Melania got to him in the end.
He's fooled a lot of people. He fooled Bush. He fooled a lot of people. He fooled Clinton, Bush, Obama, Biden. He didn't fool me. But what I do
he fooled everyone but me.
Say is that at a certain point, ultimately talk doesn't talk. It's got to be action. It's got to be results. And I hope he does it. It's potentially such a great country to be wasting so many people on this and the money. And look at what's happened to his economy. Look at what's happened. So,
and with the threat in 50 days, the economy will be hit very hard.
I mean, look, I hope he's going to do it. He knows the deal. He knows what a fair deal is. If there is such a thing as a fair deal, there's no winners here. This is a loser. This is a loser. And I dealt with him from the beginning. It wouldn't have happened, but I will say Ukraine was the apple of his eye. We talk about it. It was the apple of his eye, but it wasn't going to happen. And he understood that. It wasn't going to happen. And then I noticed, after I was out, I noticed soldiers forming at the border. Yeah. And then I heard horrible, stupid things being said from the other side.
Like what? Like what was said? The Russians are coming? What was said? The Russians are forming on the border, which is Putin taking action to get ready for a full-scale invasion. And then who said something stupid? Oh, hey, there's Russians forming on the border. They might invade? Or was it to the very end when you had people that were denying a Russian invasion till the very last minute? Hey, Russians ain't going to invade. They ain't going to do that. They're not going to do that. People in Ukraine were dazed up to the full scale, believed that they weren't going to do it. Ukrainians believe they weren't going to do it. What are you talking about? Who said something stupid? Putin did. Putin with his stupid announcement, and the night that the invasion began.
And I said they're really handling it very, very wrong. It's a shame. Yeah.
Do we get specifics? Do you ever get? You never get specifics on that. Like what was stupid? What was handled bad?
It's about President Trump, because you came in office in January. On the 12th of February, you had your first phone call with Putin. I think you did exactly what I hope you would.
You are dumb. Keep chopping. Then you might get timed out for stupidity today. The war started in 2014 and it was continuing. It was all going through Trump. Trump was president and the Russians were in Donbass. They were occupying territory and Luhansk, occupying, holding down, doing operations within occupied Ukraine in the east, and they held Crimea. What are you talking about, dude? That's just like, I know if you say this would have never happened under Trump, I know you have the lowest IQ possible. And like, you're just here, and I'm glad you're just here and you're a part of it, but you're not, like, your takes should stop at that point. Same people that say that use TDS in a real political commentary, they should not be listened to.
That is breaking the deadlock, starting the conversation, because you have to test him. I know Putin very well from the days when I was Prime Minister. In the Netherlands, you have to test him. And you did this, and you really gave him a chance to be serious, to get to the table, to start negotiations. Steve Witkoff, Marco Rubio, we all tried to help him. But you've now come to a point where you say, well, hey...
We actually thought we had probably 4 times the deal.
Yeah.
I mean, you would have called and you said, this looks good.
Yeah.
And then the deal wouldn't happen because bombs would be thrown out that night, and you'd say, we're not making any deals. It was like...
It's like dealing with a fucking child. Dealing with a grown child.
And
then we made the deal, and then the deal was broken because the bombs, and I don't know. We had a deal, and then bombs, and people dying bad. That's Trump. That's Trump the whole time.
Because you had to start that process, and you were the only one who was able to do that.
I think we'll get it done.
Do you think he's reasonable enough to negotiate an end to
I think
this?
we're going to get it done. I think, look,
Do you think he's reasonable enough? It's been 3 years of a full-scale invasion of another country, and Putin has no end in sight.
This is a very powerful situation. You have very wealthy countries buying the best equipment in the world. And we have the best equipment in the world. We make equipment like no other. You know, our submarines, nuclear submarines, are so powerful. They're the most powerful weapon ever built. And we have the best in the world they're 20 years behind, 25 years behind us. We have the greatest equipment anywhere in the world. I just hope we don't have to use it. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. On a separate topic here, President Biden, of all people, spoke to the New York Times over the weekend. He did not speak to them.
President Biden, of all people? What do you mean? What do you mean of all? He literally was just the president of the United States 6 months ago. What do you mean of all people? We got a MAGA media coming up. MAGA media question loading.
People spoke to the New York Times over the weekend. He did not speak to them on the record during his time in office at all, but he spoke to them recently.
Get this off.
And he defended his use of the auto pen and said that
get fucked. Get so fucked. Get so fucked. Like, in every way possible. MAGA media, dude. Let me ask you questions, softball questions for the propaganda, for the dick sucks in your community, in your base. God dang, dude. No time for it. Goodbye. Like Dylan said, before entering the White House, here's multiple promises he's made. 24 hours, which then turned into 100 days, which then turned into 2 weeks, which then became another 2 weeks, which became another 2 weeks, which is now settled on 50 days, you guys. We have now settled on 50 days, okay? That's where we're at. Like Dylan says, how many deadlines are necessary until it's clear that Putin doesn't need time? He needs to be made to stop, not through timetables, but by concrete action. Attacks are escalating every day. Like Dylan says. Like Dylan said. Dylan said it the best. By the way, also too, it just needs to be said, the Georgian Legion if you do not support the Georgian Legion, their leader, Mamuka, is a fucking gangster clown who pretends he LARPs to be a gangster, but he's just a fat loser who sits in Kyiv and Lviv and doesn't do anything. But he pretends he's this leader of like this military unit that is completely fictional. There's Georgians that are fighting in Ukraine, and this guy was like, let me grift on that and like brand this, which is what it was. So he created this Georgian Legion, which is unfortunate because it started like NAFO back in like 2022, but it's a complete grift and scam. There it is. It's a complete scam, this thing. And they have like an entire like bot farm, okay, that support this grift. And they've been attacking everybody. Like everybody, you know, and I've compiled like who's mostly responsible for this, because I've had to block them all, and they're like in my replies all the time, because if like I called out the Georgian Legion last year, and they like these accounts just will not let it go. So you got this Pootie Poo Owl, which is really Nurse Anna, okay, which is a canceled person in the Ukraine community, just a loser. All right, and she runs this one. Might run a few other ones, but this is for sure Nurse Anna. And then you got like Piss on a Volunteer LLC, definitely one. Glenn NAFO, Gay Satan, Not Stephen Miller. You got this cat account, Silk Fella, Titan Fella, NAFO. Otterskone, Magar Fella, Offline Anon, Those Swans, Freedom Fields, Butt Fella, Iris, Anastasia, Beaver Fella. And then of course the leader, which is Mamuka, the leader of the Georgian Legion. Okay. And you have this, and this is becoming a bigger and bigger problem. All right, listen, NAFO's done great things, and they still do great things, but I highly recommend you be yourself and support Ukraine as yourself. Or if you're worried about that and you're worried about Russians, then be a different alt. Okay? Because you have NAFO that have infiltrated it, and it's so decentralized. We're decentralized. There's no accountability. We don't have to answer for anything. Okay? You have people literally infiltrating it and then doing shit like this. And they're going full throat attack on volunteers. Okay? And creating they're creating AI generated images of me. Okay? This shit's crazy. I got the sunglasses on now though, so it's perfect. But you just be yourself. Be yourself. Or if you're worried about your identity online, which is definitely understandable, don't be a part of a group. It's cringe. Okay, it's cringe. Be yourself, or be your own thing. Okay, be your own identity. You know, being in a group, especially this one, dude, it's like just too infiltrated, I think. And I was a part of it, and I'll still support the ones I trust and the NAFO groups that I trust at this point, like the 69th Sniffing Brigade, absolutely trustworthy. But it's just far too infiltrated at this point. And honestly, I'm seeing more from non-NAFO in support of Ukraine than I'm seeing from NAFO. Okay, I'm just seeing Ukrainian soldiers now, thankfully, and I'm retweeting them. I'm retweeting them over NAFO accounts. I'm just being honest, because they're the soldiers. But I'm seeing them more. So just, consider being yourself and supporting Ukraine as yourself, or an alt that you're comfortable with. If you don't want to be your own, have your identity on the internet. But a lot of it's been infiltrated, and it's unfortunate to see. So I'm just letting you guys know, the leader of the so-called Georgian Legion, and then the leader attacks Rutte, and he also attacks Dimko, who's one of the most trusted Ukrainians in Ukraine. Like so many support. And we're also going to be working with Diggs's Paw here. I got to respond to him. We're actually going to be working with Diggs's Paw and Dimko, ironically. So it's all going to come together to help fundraise for animals. But you got Mamuka, the leader of this thing. He's blaming this Jay Beecher character. I think we blocked each other because Jay Beecher went after me because this far right fascist Nazi girl who's Ukrainian, but she moved to London and started DMing me about how foreigners were coming and taking over London, and that the Tommy whatever Johnson, whatever his stupid name is, his protests were based. And I'm like, no, that sounds like some far-right apologia. That sounds like some fascist shit that we hear in the United States with MAGA and they're crying about the border, which it is. It's the same thing. You got that in the UK. It's in other countries too. You got the same immigration fascist bullshit that people spew. So I wasn't with that, and this Londoner lady, Ukrainian lady, I like was not with that, and so Jay Beecher like didn't like me after that because Jay Beecher is like a white knight for like everything. So me and him like blocked each other after that. But then after that, months later was the Georgian Legion stuff came out. So and I realized like, oh, I guess Jay Beecher's leading the story on this. Let me go do it myself because I don't like that guy. And then I ended up finding the same shit he found. I guess a broken clock can be right twice a day, I guess, because I can't stand Jay Beecher. Can't stand that fucking loser. But he ended up being right on the Georgian Legion and how it's a fraud. And so Mamuka takes the low-hanging fruit of Jay Beecher, because Jay Beecher is a piece of shit, and then says, well, everybody got all their info from Jay Beecher. No, we didn't. No, we didn't. Didn't even need Jay Beecher. Found it all ourselves. Okay? But to say that Dimko is pretending to be a Ukrainian, and this is the leader of the so-called Georgian Legion, guys. Commander. It's like more like an Arma Milsim commander, you looking ass boy. Fuck out of here, dude. You fat piece of shit. Can't stand it, dude. Like, I can't stand people that grift and lie like this. It's just not going to happen, especially with such a situation like this, with Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and then to take people's money when they're like trying to donate to something to help and lie and do that. I want the worst for you at that point, because you're taking people's hard-earned money that they're giving away to help, and you're not telling them the truth about where the money's going. You're not providing any receipts. You're not providing any facts about your donations. And then when people ask for this, you call them all Russian agents and say these are agents of Russia. These are FSB backed agents. Anyone that's called out the Georgian Legion. So do not donate to the Georgian Legion. Do not support Mamuka. And if you see any of these accounts, which I've already retweeted for you, so you can go and check Twitter if you want to see what the accounts are. But if you see any of these accounts, or if you follow any of these accounts, block them. They're not legitimate. They're Georgian Legion bot farm. They're real. I think honestly it's like 3 people that run multiple accounts. Mamuka being one of them. His little soldier he had, Rashette, is unfortunately like taking shelter in my home state, which I'm still figuring out. You know, I think I'll utilize ICE. Okay, I know a perfect person for it too. Rashette. Ain't playing around with that guy. He's gonna have a surprise coming soon. Promise. But this whole Georgian Legion grift is just, it's sad, because it's a lot of innocent people's money that have gone to this grift, when there's so many reliable donations that you can give, including to our good friend Renegade Chungus and Canty over at Car for Ukraine. Okay, go and support their efforts. They got 45 donations. They got 11,000 euro goal, and they're at 2,300 goal. And the overall general campaign progress, they got 209,000 euro out of 220,000. So if there ever was a campaign you wanted to support, unlike the fraudulent Georgian Legion scam, support the Car for Ukraine and help the Ukrainian soldiers get vehicles, and support legitimate fundraisers, not bullshit. Okay, if you want to. Obviously, you don't have to support anything if you don't want to, but some people do. Some people see Russia's invasion of Ukraine and they're like, that's fucked up. I want to help. Okay, so that is Renegade Chungus and Canty. We'll be talking with Dimko's Digza's Paw and getting something going for us. I can't really fully commit to Ukraine advocacy and donations again, because I want to focus on my channel and grow. Okay, I'm just being serious. Like my YouTube channel for the past 3 years was like this, looking flatlined, until we started covering more local news and things that are happening in the U.S. again. And then what happens? So I'm just, I want to help as best as I can, and we'll do what we can, but not to the detriment of my own, if that makes sense. Like, if I'm not good, then how can I help others, right? If I can't grow my channel, or if I can't grow my media, then it's hard for me to really help because I'm just like absolutely just stretched out and I'm not able to grow myself. Okay. And there was just a period of time there where just my YouTube channel was kind of dead, dead for like 2 years, no growth. Facebook page grew, but the YouTube channel didn't grow until recently after we started covering local U.S. news and breaking news again, which will continue, guys. I'm going to keep these regular Ukrainian updates going whenever. They're not going to be just on Saturdays. Okay, so I thought that was going to be a thing for a while, but the channel is now geared back to breaking news. So breaking news will happen when it happens, and we'll cover that. Then that could be any day of the week. And say I don't have anything to cover for that day, well, we'll do a Ukraine update then. We'll do an update for Ukraine. I'll give you the latest or whatever news is happening. But I used to have dedicated Saturdays for a little bit, not completely. It was every day, only Ukraine, and that is not good for my channel. So I'm going to continue doing the daily news for you guys, Monday through Friday, breaking news when it happens. I don't think we had anything breaking today, did we? And people considered this Trump news breaking news, but it's just not. It's just not breaking news at all. But yeah, we haven't had any of the last breaking news we had was the ice raid in California. Texas floods are back, so you got to pay attention to that. They have flash flooding in hill country, Texas hill country again. So we got to pay attention to that. What's going on in Texas still, and the recovery efforts. But we got breaking news for you guys. We got Ukraine updates for you guys. All that and more coming back. I'm getting ready to go to my softball. I think I was. It's still pretty bright, but so I'm going to have to wear the sunglasses, but I'll be alive. I had an eye doctor appointment this morning, and they dilate your eyes and had to put other drops in, and I have astigmatism, so it just hurts even more. But if you guys want to watch, I got some streams for you tonight. He said, don't worry, people couldn't even get Americans interested in the wars we're involved in for decades because they were happening in foreign. True. Yeah. True. Americans are most Americans are moved by what happens to us directly and not like what happens to others, unfortunately. Or if money's a big motivating factor too for Americans. Not all Americans, but most. My softball team, come on over and watch some softball tonight. All right. I'm going to have a couple of games. We got like 3 weeks of makeup games because we had rainouts. So we have softball tonight. I'm going to go touch grass, but it's a cool thing though. It's not lame. Okay, we got the scoreboard up and everything, so you can actually watch a cool game, and I play and all that. I play outfield, so if you're wondering where I'm playing, I'm going to be in the outfield or at second base after I get a hit because I hit doubles. I don't see if I can go yard tonight, but I don't know. I've been really working on a base hit swing, and I really have that down. I swear I used to be able to get up there and hit a home run easy. And then I hurt my knee, and I had knee surgery, and I've been scared in the batter's box for years. And now I had to learn how to hit base hits. I can hit base hits really good, but home runs are not so much because there's a certain swing for it and timing and everything. I'll get it back, but come on over, guys. Hang out on my gaming channel. After that, we're gonna be here, Mercado Gaming. We got Death Stranding 2 tonight, so we got softball. Come watch me touch grass. We got gaming. Come watch me game for you guys to watch if you're bored tonight. You don't want anything to do. Come and watch Death Stranding 2. It's an amazing game. Great playthrough. That's going to be late tonight, though, after softball, about 10 p.m. So later on. So come watch softball. Link will be in the description of the link will be in Discord. So come on over to the Discord server and check it out there. If you're wondering where it is and how to watch, people will tell you. I'll have the link there. I'll share it around. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you to everybody for supporting. Thank you for the support on the PayPal. Got my birthday coming up on Saturday, so you guys supporting the channel. We got protests coming up on Thursday, so I should be out there covering some protests on Thursday. That's pretty exciting. So we have that coming up again. Trying to think of what else. No, just regular news this week. Regular news updates, 3 p.m. Eastern time, whatever I got for you. Might have a couple briefings this week between the press briefing and the State Department. Listen to Tammy again for Rantel for a little bit. And then, of course, again, like I said, any breaking news that happens. Protests Thursday and my birthday this weekend. So that's what we got. You guys have a good one. You guys are awesome. Thank you to all the members. Thank you to the supporters. Thank you to the followers. Thank you to everybody for supporting independent media, Mercado Media. You guys have a good one, and I'll see you at the next one. Peace.